Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. This is a great day to join together and be able to celebrate the ribbon cutting for the Capital Campaign. My name is Kevin Thrasher. I am one of the co-chairs of the Capital Campaign. It has been a long time to get to this point, and it has been a journey to get to this point. But I'm glad to be here today and to see so many faces that I have met through the campaign and people that I talked to during the campaign and learned more about people's journey here at the church and learned why people wanted to celebrate our church during the campaign. I'd like to thank the people that helped us on the campaign and were also part of the Capital Campaign Committee. If you were on the Capital Campaign Committee or participated with the Roof or Solar Committee, if you could just raise your hand so that everyone could see that. Just wanted to thank everybody for that. I would like to introduce my co-chair to the Capital Campaign, somebody that I have loved and enjoyed spending many a phone calls, many a Zoom call with Anne-Marie McCartan.
Thank you, Kevin. And possibly maybe a glass or two of wine on my front porch while we were brainstorming. To be at this point today gives us just tremendous pleasure because it has been about a 2.5-year journey. But as you've probably heard, we because of your generosity, and I'm looking around, I know you people, and I know that you gave $1,355,000 to fund our projects for the Capital Campaign. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Joan Lewis reminds me that in another day and age, we probably would have had a dinner dance with a band and all those good things. But frankly, we're just thrilled that we could do this and that this many people were willing to come out and join us. I heard from a number of our other contributors who are at the beach, at a grandchild's graduation, preparing for a trip. So there are many who are not here who are with us in spirit. But I honestly, just from the depths of my heart, and I know Kevin's as well, it's just been so meaningful that you all dug deep and funded this campaign. So that's why we're here today. That's why we're celebrating. And Elliot Norman then was generous enough to say that he would lend his talents, and then he recruited a bunch of other people with talent to do a benefit concert afterwards. So please, if you haven't bought a ticket already, we'll be selling tickets for that inside. But if you could at least be here for this today, that means a lot to us. So, well, as you can imagine, the campaign would not have been possible, first of all, without a board of directors telling us that we needed to raise the money. And I feel that I saw Jim Armstrong, who's the one that charged us with raising the money initially. Thank you. And then his work was ably picked up by our new president, Denise Rimes, and she and members of her board, and she may recognize those of you who are able to be here, supported us each and every step of the way, and that meant a lot. And as you can imagine, we were also aided morally, spiritually, and financially by our two lead ministers, our dear Reverend Jean Pupke and Reverend Sherman Logan, and their partners, also contributors to the campaign. So it's what this community is about, working together for a purpose, a shared purpose. So thank you, thank you. I would like to now turn to our president, Denise Rimes, and if you will step up, Denise.
Thank you, Anne-Marie, and thank you to the entire Capital Campaign Committee for the agonizing amount of time that you spent planning for this, for the campaign and bringing it to fruition. You know, it all started before COVID, and then COVID came along, and it was not an easy task. It's never an easy task to raise over $1 million. Several years ago, a friend of mine who's a member of the Methodist congregation, their congregation had a capital campaign, and she said she was surprised by the number of people who gave up things like honeymoon cruises and additions to their homes, and they took the money and they gave it to their church. And I've been thinking about that ever since. And when we wondered if we could raise over $1 million, I thought to myself, well, the Methodists gave up a few things. I feel like maybe the Unitarian Universalists would be willing to give up a few things. I don't know what y'all gave up, but thank you. And I hope it's not painful for you, because it's glorious for us. For those of you that were at the annual meeting last week, one of the things that I've been thinking about really since the beginning of my tenure is this community and how much faith I have in you. And that's my motto for this year, and that's my motto for us as we cut this ribbon and ultimately when we break ground, and that is that I really do have faith in your faith. I believe in you, and I believe in everything that you all do for and on behalf of this congregation. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will ask now for Reverend Sherman to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. What a glorious day to be in the presence of this beloved community, a community that I have an honor and privilege of serving as your acting senior minister. And as I look at the overcast sky, thank God we're raising money to replace the roof. I've been here for 14 years, and there have been many buckets across the floor in offices. And a capital campaign for a roof is not the most sexy thing, but thank you all for stepping up and raising the money that we need to start this project. One thing that I've been pondering on is that so often we take folks for granted and don't have the opportunity or fail the opportunity to just thank folks and show them how much we appreciate them. So I'm going to appreciate and thank Kevin and Anne Marie for yeoman duty. 2.5 years of running this campaign and their committee. I know it was hard work. I know sometimes you're always frustrated, but thank you for sticking in there. I want to thank Denise Rhymes and the board of directors for their leadership, our staff, and most importantly, to you all, my beloveds. Because if it wasn't for you all, this wouldn't happen. So thank you so much. And I'm so glad to be here with you all and continue to do the good work of serving the mission and ministry of this great congregation, a congregation that I'm so proud to serve. And I love you all. So now I would turn the mic over to, I forgot to thank the Building and Roofs Committee too, Tom Norton.
Thank you, Reverend Sherman. So my name's Tom Norton. I've been a member for, I think, about 13 years. You and I joined about the same time, Anne Marie. And somebody found out that through my work, I manage projects, and I'm at the Federal Reserve Bank downtown in the Facilities Management Group. And they even found out that about 3 or 4 years ago, one of those was to replace the roof on the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, and kind of put 2 and 2 together and asked me to first work on the committee to come up with the scope and the estimate of the roof and energy project. So we did that. We put together what we would call a Class 4, which is a fairly rough estimate without any engineering done, to come up with the budget. Included what we think is a pretty healthy contingency in it to be within our budget. And in January, a new team was formed, and I was asked to lead it, called the Roof and Energy Project Team. And I have some of our members are here today. I'm going to ask them, they're over here. I'm going to ask them to kind of wave when I say their name. and some are not. But we have Doug Green, Michael Testerman. I know Michael is here. Reggie Henderson. Reggie's not here with us today. Drew Fridley.
Over here on the left.
Where? Oh, where is Drew? Right here. Hey, man. Fred Solto, right here. Michael Gibson, who's happens to be an architect, which is quite handy on a roof and energy project team. Let's see. Jay Clark. I don't know if Jay is here. Jay's not a direct member of the team. He's a member of what we call the sponsor team. So we've got the project team and then a kind of a higher level to be a connection to the board. We have 2 board members, Jay Clark and Larry Kruger. Okay, they're not here. And then Reverend Sherman is on that sponsor team, as he's spoken. Joe Rupp was not able to be here with us today. And I'd like to also mention, let's see, Miriam's Werkhauser, I call it. Sorry, I speak German, so I can't help but put the German language out there. But anyway, Marion is our lawyer, and she's helping us review the contracts, or the contract for the architect. So anyway, thank you. Did I miss anybody? We good? All right, well, thanks to the team. We formed in January. We got a charge from the board to execute the project within the budget that was established. We put together a project plan that described the strategy of how we would execute the project. And in the basic scope, there are 2 primary elements of it. One is, of course, to replace the roof, which is coming up on 30 years. I think that was done in about 94 or 95. And to ask that out of a roof is quite a lot. So it's definitely time, as you can tell from all the leaks that we have. So the roof for sure is part of it, but there's a major energy component as well. When this building was built, and even when that roof was replaced in the 90s, there was fairly thin insulation that was put on the roof. So one of the things we're looking to do is to try to really improve the energy efficiency of the building through the roof project. And we're also looking at putting solar panels over the Great Hall. So that's all within the scope of the project. So back in January, we formed the team. We put together the scope. We talked about how we would execute it, how many contracts would we have, what would be the strategy. The strategy is first to hire an architect, and we've done that. We have issued a letter of intent to an architect in Williamsburg named Guernsey Tingle and Associates. We did go out to bid to 6 firms. We received 3 bids. And then went through a review process to narrow it down to the selected vendor. So we have issued them a letter of intent. We are about 95% through the contract to actually have it signed by the board and by Guernsey Tingle. That's where Marion came in with a review of the contract from a legal standpoint. At that point then, we expect within this month that we would be able to actually start on the design, the detailed design that would allow us to go out for bid toward the end of the year. It's about a 4-month process to get through the design phase. Toward the end of the year, we'll have a second bid process where we'll go out to general contractors to bid on the actual construction of the project. And then the desire would be, of course, with a roof project, that there is a weather element that has to be considered. So we don't want to be doing a roof in December or January, if you will. So we're looking at get through the design this year, bid it out. If materials are available, material availability is a problem right now in the industry. But we hope that we would have materials available then to do it in the next season, which would effectively be 2023 building season, March through September, October timeframe is generally what we're looking for, pending material availability. Very excited to be kicking it off. Some of what you see from here in the courtyard will be part of the scope. So if you look over our head right here, this fascia board that looks rather tatty, That is failing. That is an area where water can come in, so that is intended to be part of the scope. You can't really see above that, but of course the roof itself is the major part of the scope. There are windows where the seals around the windows have failed. That will be part of the scope. So really anywhere where water can infiltrate the building, or that it's doing it today, and where that's failed, we've got to address. And that's why the scope, if you look at it, is quite varied, and it's not simply just come to a roof. There's a lot of other pieces to it because there's a lot of places where we're getting water infiltration. So really looking forward to getting on with it, to getting some real boots on the ground, so to speak, with some drawings and get somebody engaged to move forward to the next stage of bidding this thing out and getting it constructed. And I did mention solar. The solar we're looking at is just would be over the Great Hall, and that likely would be a third contract. So the general contractor will come in, execute the work to replace all of the hard components I've mentioned, the roof, the windows, the trim, the insulation, all of that, leave it solar ready so that then a final and third contract would put the panels on the roof right here over the Great Hall. So thank you very much. Glad to be on the team.
Aren't we lucky to have such talent within our congregation to do this on a volunteer basis? So we're just terribly, terribly grateful for all the work you've done and that you will do. Some of you, for whatever reason, may not have had a chance to contribute to the campaign. And when I say contribute, I mean commit, because you can spread your donation out over time. So behind Jim Armstrong, if you just scoot over to the side a little bit, there's Erica Sims and her daughter Eleanor, and she's got forms. If you want to up your contribution or make a commitment for the first time, she's got forms for that. We also have a display of the people who have said they were willing to have their names mentioned as contributors. So that's on display there as well. We also have a couple copies of our final report in case you want to leaf through that now after the concert. So any questions before we do the official ribbon cutting? All right, well, with no further ado, may we have our three officials. Wait, I'll give the signal. Ready? 2, 3. So I hope most of you can join us in what should be a wonderful concert inside of Chopin pieces. It's a French themed, thus you will see French colors on the table and the program as well. So that's going to be very exciting. Look forward to seeing most of you in there. So thank you. All right, so can somebody take this because we got to go get it.
we'd like to invite everybody outside to come in. And my name's Elliot Norman, and today it's a Chopin party. And we first want to thank our technical director, Jim Cregan, and our music director, David Robbins, for working so hard on making this possible. So round of applause for them. They're working, they've been here since 12 o'clock. And the next thing I'd like to do, the microphone is low for a reason, which I'll explain. If I could take a personal moment here, more than 30 years ago, I won't say how many years ago, my daughter Valerie was, of course, active as a youth member here at the First Unitarian Universalist Church, and we were a very liberal church then. We may still be a very liberal church. And I said to the minister at the time, I said, I want to play Peter and the Wolf for services. And it is a good tale of morality and teaches a grandfather how to appreciate his grandson. So I pulled Valerie out of school to rehearse, and she came down on Sunday morning, and she narrated Peter and the Wolf while I played an abbreviated version on the piano, and that was the moral tale for the service. So it's with great pleasure that I want to introduce our announcer and master of ceremonies today, and that is my grandson, her son, Gabrielle Ornstein. Thank you. Who we recruited, and he took a flight down from northern New Jersey, made time in his schedule for this event. He's a 5th grader at his elementary school in New Jersey. He's a big baseball player, plays starting catcher for his baseball team that's headed for the playoffs. He loves to sing. He's involved in children's theater, plays the ukulele, loves to rap all the lyrics at a high velocity from Hamilton. And let's give a hand again for Gabrielle, who's going to take over the show.
That's a lot of people. Wow. Hi, so my name is Gabe, and I'll be your MC for today. And thank you, Grandpa, for the introduction. Welcome, everyone, to our celebration with Chopin. We have just a few housekeeping details. Your cell phones, please silence them, but feel free to take pictures or videos. Bathrooms, there is one down the hall and all the way to the right through the yellow doors. Or take the elevator or stairs downstairs. We have other restrooms, right over down there. Intermission. We will have one intermission with punch and cookies. We would ask that you do not take food and drinks back with you into the sanctuary. The Kaleidoscope Quilt Raffle will take place at the end of the intermission. COVID policy. Please be kind enough to keep your mask on while inside. And now for our show. Why celebrate Chopin? Well, he was a great composer who composed some of the world's most beautiful melodies. So we have that to celebrate. And as you will hear at intermission, we want to celebrate a very successful capital campaign for the church. One thing about Chopin, he wrote nearly always just for piano, but many times his pieces sound like the piano is also playing the part of a cello or a flute, or playing a song. So we said, why not actually invite other performers to play Chopin? So today we are bringing you special arrangements for a singer, flute, and cello. So this is a special party concert. We hope you enjoy it. We begin with Jamie Kilpatrick on the Steinway piano. She is going to play one of her favorite Chopin waltzes. Chopin dedicated this waltz to one of his students in Paris, who was a member of the Rothschild family. In 1909, a Russian ballet company later asked an orchestra to play this waltz for one of its famous ballets. Please give it up for Jamie. Will play a mazurka. Chopin wrote mazurkas from the age of 15 until he died at the age of 39, more than 50 in all. They are Chopin's unique transformation of a traditional Polish folk dance called a mazur. Please give it up for Anna Marie. in sharp contrast to the D minor prelude that my grandpa played. The nocturne in F major has a soft, quiet melody that was turned into a popular song for Judy Garland to sing 100 years later, along with its stormy moments in the middle. We hope you enjoy it. Grandpa.
And I'm playing this with my coach and teacher, Sharon Stewart, who's going to make sure I stay on the right page. Here we go.
Welcome Christina Jennings to play with us. Chopin was only 20 when he wrote this mazurka. He was living not in Poland but in Paris. Someone said that this nationalist music of Poland paints an image of a country with many enemies and was suffering from invasions like Ukraine today. These mazurkas to remind his Paris listeners and give himself of his Poland that he loves so much. Please give it up for Christina. Now let's welcome our Chopin trio to play a favorite waltz. Chopin wrote this as a part of a set of 3 waltzes in 1831. We found a Polish arranger who set it for piano, cello, and flute back in the 1860s, so other instruments could have a chance to play its beautiful melodies. The trio, take it away. For our final act before intermission, my grandpa will play the so-called cello etude. Actually, it is really a study in touch for the piano using the sounds of 3 instruments: flute, cello, and piano. This is what gave him the idea of asking Christina and Anna Marie to play Chopin on their instruments instead of just having the piano play the sounds. Give it up for my grandpa. Intermission. Yeah. Now we will have our intermission with refreshments outside under the tents. Thank you. See you in about 15 minutes for the raffle of the quilt.
I know they kicked it on, yeah, yeah.
nothing going into the speakers ever. Yeah, there's not going to be anything going into the speakers in this room.
Still there.
Okay.
You sound great. Oh, where's the note now?
What note would you want?
How about a E? E? No, where are you? Yeah, E natural. That seems so low.
Yeah, I think I'm going to hit the one.
That's it. Thank you.
Requires so much concentration that this constant breaking kind of throws me. You know, like, and, yeah.
Well, I only have this one 4-minute piece, so I get it. I have it easy.
It's good to do this with you though. I'm so glad to be back.
I know.
And I like the smaller venues rather than the big stuff.
I agree. I love singing in this space.
Yeah.
Can I do you a favor?
Yeah.
Can I use your light?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's battery operated.
That's great. I forgot mine. And you know, I've got a
two-tiered.
reader contact lens, and it works.
It's
but not-
2 tiers, so that's the light, that's dim, and that's off. So it's right here. So this is the light, and then this is the gooseneck.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah.
And it just charges. I have 2 of those. That help.
Yeah, a lot better. Because I was kind of going, do I need the readers? But no, I have a special contact reader. Because I'm blind with that anyway, so I wear contacts, but then I have a special reader
I have
one.
3 different glasses. One for when I like play and I miss work on the stand.
Yeah.
This one I'm just normal reading.
Yeah.
And then I have a bifocal, but bifocals are just,
Yeah, and you know, I can't wear glasses. Glasses, they're so, I'm so nearsighted that I get that.
You want it off or?
Yeah, show me, is it right here?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's low and then that's
Okay.
off. So that's high, go off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I wear glasses, they're so thick.
Yeah.
That mine look kind of, and then the floor looks far away. It's hard to describe, and I find myself very busy.
Well, I have an astigmatism.
Me too.
Without some kind of correction within 5 minutes, I'm going to Pardon me?
Let's just move this back. It's,
Oh, okay.
It's a lot heavier than I thought it would
Sure,
be.
oh, yeah, it is. That's perfect. That's enough. And I'll help you move it forward.
Yeah, it
And then
slides
I've
pretty good.
adjusted this wrong. Oh, it's on. Okay. Good afternoon. I am Diane Woodruff, and I'm a proud member of the First UU Quilters. And right now, we're going to go ahead with our raffle quilt drawing. The quilt that you see to my right is actually, and the proceeds is actually a gift of a member who was part of our quilt group and is now deceased. And this is her donation to the capital campaign, in effect. When she passed, as quilters do, they're very generous, and they know that the fabric that they have amassed will go to a good home. And she thoughtfully invited the quilt group to come and take what they could use. So, sorry, when I went with other quilters, Kathleen had purchased from a quilt store a block. She had purchased the pattern and the fabric for one of these blocks, and they were called buck a block because she paid $1 for each of the 12 blocks that you see in the quilt. So we got the idea, well, why not make this into a quilt? So each of 12 quilters took one of the kits and sewed it up. Another group bought fabric for the border and the sashing, and Margaret and Nancy Pratt sewed the top together. We sent it to a long arm quilter to make it. Someone else did the binding, someone else did the label. So this is Kathleen's contribution to the capital campaign, which and through your generosity of purchasing tickets is just a little over $3,000. So thank you so much. So I just want to say that if you purchased a ticket online, we have your name and we filled out a ticket on your behalf, and it's all in this old Tupperware container. We've separated them, we've foofed them up. We're going to put them in this offering basket because they really are your offerings to the church. And then we've asked our capable and wonderful MC, Gabe, if he will draw the winning ticket. So we're just going to get them all in here, spread them out. Gabe's going to do a little more, separating of tickets. And come on, Gabe. All right, we'll do a little bit more of it in here. Shaking it doesn't really help. You got to, come on up, Gabe.
So honored.
Well, thank you. We're honored that you're here. We know you're a neutral person. It doesn't matter. He can't see anything that's in here anyway. So shake him up, get him, swish him around, and then reach your hand in. And then I'll read the name, if you would. The winning ticket is Larry Kruger. Larry Kruger is our raffle quilt winner. So we will let him know the winning ticket. We need to, let's see, put it in. All right, you all heard that. Larry Kruger. We'll get in touch with him and let him know the good news. Thank you all so much. And thanks to my helpers here, we'll get the quilt to Larry and back to Gabe. I need to help move this. Thank you. Thanks.
It's an amazing quilt.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Back to the show. It is with great pleasure that we welcome Jenna Anderson, soprano, who will sing a song called La Sadness, based on Etude number 3. Other versions call it The Farewell, which perhaps fits it better than the lyrics that Jenna has chosen. Chopin is quoted that he believed the melody of the piece has to be the most beautiful one he ever composed. and Jenna. Largo. Its melody is also one of Chopin's most touching. Please give it up for Anna Marie. Sorry. Many of you have played the Raindrop Prelude on the piano or heard it as the piano piece. We have made special arrangements for the Chopin Trio to capture the melodies as they move from the low notes to the high notes between cello and flute. Please welcome the Chopin Trio. Anna Marie will now play for us Chopin's Special Andante. Please give a warm welcome to Anna Marie. We will end our program with a nocturne that was not published until after Chopin died. My grandfather has a special story to tell you all about it.
Jim, is this microphone live? I could use this microphone. Everybody hear me okay with the microphone? No? Yes? All right. Let me use the microphone. Gabrielle, let me just move your microphone. No, it works. Okay, thank you. Got it. That's better. Okay. All right, two stories. We just played the Andante Spianato of Chopin. The women's orchestra in not Auschwitz, but the concentration camp, Michel Rostand can help me out. Buchenwald, I think it begins with a BR. The women's orchestra secretly arranged that Andante Spianato for the women's orchestra. And they played it when the Nazi guards were not looking, because the Nazis had banned all Polish music. No Polish music was allowed to be played in the concentration camps. So I wanted to tell you that true story. And it relates to my next story. And by the way, that music that Anna Marie played so beautifully was also in the movie The Pianist. I don't know how many of you saw that movie. So in Schindler's List, there was a concentration camp in Poland, Plausen, I think is the way to pronounce it, run by Amon Gott. And he was specifically very cruel. If you remember Schindler's List, instead of exercising random acts of kindness, he always acted random acts of cruelty. And he declared to everybody at the concentration camp, which was built over the foundations of 2 Jewish cemeteries, I am your new God. And as far as the inmates were concerned, he was death itself. So on his birthday, to try to placate him in 1943, they presented to him this very small Jewish woman named Natalia Karp, and they said, Herr Kommandant, she's going to play the piano for you. He said, fine, if I like what she plays, she will live. Otherwise, I'm going to go out and shoot her and her sister. So she sat down with nerves of steel, and she played this nocturne for him, and he said, you can live, and I will also spare your sister. So in honor of Natalia Karp, I'm going to play this nocturne. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming. Can we ask all the musicians and singers to come up and bow for us? Let's hear it one more time for all our musicians and our singers. Woo! And our tech people over there. So we were thinking, is there time for like a short encore, about 2 minutes? Yes, all right.
The encore is the 2-minute prelude by Chopin, number 4.
All right. One more ovation for these amazing musicians. Amazing.
Say it again.
Oh, okay. Can we have one more clapping applause for these amazing musicians? Anyway, yeah. So you can stay if you would like more refreshments and to meet and talk with the musicians. And thank you all again for coming. But before you guys leave, we have some words from Anna Marie. Anna Marie, take it away.
Oh my gosh. Listen, if anything ever doesn't, go well at home, there are a few of us that would be happy to adopt your son or your grandson. If he goes missing, check with me. So, Gabriel, you're a young man going somewhere. We want to see what happens with you. As I look out, I see about half of you are First Unitarian Universalists and half of you are guests here today. We're so glad you could be in on this benefit concert that Elliot put together on behalf of our capital campaign. It's really kind of a nice serendipity of events. Joan Lewis out there is the person who helped with the refreshments. Please help yourself and be sure to thank her for her help. Love you all, be well, and thanks for coming.